So on Valentine's Day, Optimus posted on its X channel.
Said, wish me luck. Is Optimus dating now?
Maybe that new Roomba in the accounting department?
Pretty lonely world for a robot.
And Elon posted on X last Saturday, Grok 3 release with live demo on Monday night at 8 p.m. Pacific. So that was last night. He says it's the smartest AI on Earth. And I think there's been a bit of a split with people going on right now that kind of follows other technological splits from the recent past.
Splits?
Well, what I mean is when a new technology comes along, there are usually early adopters, right? A smallish group, usually about 1/8 of the population that starts using that new technology right away. Like for instance, with the cell phone or brick phones that started appearing in the 1980s, it seemed like only business people in a hurry had them. Then they got smaller, cheaper, and more people adopted them.
Yeah, I mean, flip phones in the late 90s and early 2000s.
And then there came the iPhone that came out in 2007 and more people adopted them. But there were still plenty of people who were like,
I don't need a smartphone. Why would I need a lighter app?
And then fast forward to today, and pretty much everyone uses a smartphone. So going back to Grok 3, I think that LLMs are such a new technology. I mean, ChatGPT only first hit the scene on November 30th of 2022. So most people have only had access for a little over a year. It's so new that many people, even watching the show, only have a cursory understanding of what Grok is and what it can do. I mean, if we take me, for example, because of my job here on Tesla Time News, I kind of forced myself to use it.
Just do it!
But after the initial, that's neat, after trying ChatGPT version 1, I was like, well, I'm not in high school writing term papers. And after having it write a couple poems, I was like, this isn't that useful.
Because it wasn't trustworthy or accurate with its research capabilities in the beginning.
But then Grok 1 came out in March of 2024, and it was a real step change. And I started using it pretty much every day. Everything from how to operate software to what's that movie directed by such and such to research for the show. Then Grok 2 came out in August, and it was another improvement. In fact, it's gotten to the point where I don't think I could give up having such a powerful tool at my fingertips. So I've been testing Grok against Gemini Advanced 1.5 Pro with deep research. That's from Google. And honestly, Grok wins almost every time. I mean, Grok is faster, more accurate, with less hallucinations.
Yeah, I mean, the whole point of Gemini is that it's going to take like 15 minutes. It's going to go look on the internet for all sorts of sources, and we've sent it to go do stuff that like we know the answers to, like, you know, electric car sales, and Gemini will come back and be like, here is this super duper long report, why don't you read it, it's 20 pages long. And you're like, okay, cool. Hey, you don't have any data in this report. This report that's supposed to be on EV sales. It's like, we don't have any data. It's like, what are you talking about? Why does Grok have the data? I mean, Grok will literally in 10 seconds be like, well, here's the data you were looking for.
Yep.
And you'll be like, oh, that's pretty accurate. Maybe you're missing one or two sources, but it's pretty accurate compared to Gemini, where it just goes like, could not find.
Yep.
Crazy. I'm really curious about how many people are using Grok.
Well, that's our Patreon poll question this week. If you'd like to take part in our weekly Patreon polls, please join us on Patreon. We'll share the results later in the show.
Comment down below if you use Grok or any other LLM regularly.
If you aren't using AI as a tool, first, I'll say there is a bit of a learning curve on how to use it effectively.
It's mainly about knowing how to prompt it to get what you want from it.
I believe for the next few years, at least, it will become one of the most important skills you can have. So if you don't use AI, start. I recommend Grok. How about you?
Oh, definitely. Grok would definitely be one of the fastest and easiest ones to pick up. I would use it for any problem that you run into in your life.
Right.
If it has to do with computers, that's an easy one. If you're like, oh, when I plug in a thing on my computer, it used to pop up with a box and now it doesn't. What do I do? Well, normally, how would you Google that? Right. You'd have to know what the right term was. Oh, it's the auto start function, and here's how you find it. Grok, you can just be like, what's this thing? And Grok will be like, oh, it's this. It's what Google really should have turned into, but didn't.
Right.
And Grok does an excellent job at it.
You can get to Grok in two ways. One is through a premium subscription to X for $8 a month. You can also try Grok for free at grok.com with 10 queries every 2 hours. But to go beyond that, you'll need an X account. And I'm really excited about Grok 3. I can't wait to use it. Here is an example of some of its newest abilities from the reveal event.
All right, so this was the little physics problem we had. And then we see Grok's answer below that. So it explains, it wrote a Python script here using matplotlib, then gives us all of the code. So let's take a quick look at the code. Seems like it's doing reasonable things here. Solve Kepler says here, so maybe it's solving Kepler's law numerically. Yeah, there's really only one way to find out if this thing is working. I'd say let's give it a try. Let's run the code. Mm-hmm. All right, and we can see, Grok is animating two different planets, Earth and Mars here, and then the green ball is the vehicle that's transiting, the spacecraft that's transitioning between Earth and Mars. You could see the journey from Earth to Mars, and looks like, yeah, indeed, the astronauts returned safely, at the right moment in time.
Been running on this platform called Chatbot Arena for 2 weeks, and place interface where the user will submit one single query, and you get to show 2 responses. You don't know which model they come from, and in the end, you make the vote. So in this blind test, Grok 3, an early version of Grok 3, already reached like 1,400. No other models has reached an ELO score, head-to-head comparison to all the other models at this score. It's 1,400 aggregated across all the categories in chatbot capabilities, instruction following, coding. So it's #1 across the board in this blind test.
And it's still climbing, so we actually have to keep updating it. So it's 1,400, about 1,400 and climbing.
Yeah, and in fact, we have a version of the model that we think is already much better than the one that we tested here.
We'd love to hear how you've used AI in the comments below.
Jesse and I have been programming with Grok 2, and I can't wait to see how Grok 3 handles software coding and if Grok really is the smartest AI on Earth.
Elon said, we'll be honing product with the team all weekend, so offline until then.
He was offline for like 6 hours, but then he got back to X right away. Hey everybody, thanks so much for watching Now You Know Clips.
You can watch full episodes of Tesla Time News on Tuesdays and in-depths on Fridays. Just click the link down below and head over to the Now You Know channel.